So what we have here is a swarm box. Like everything in beekeeping, it's got more than one name. Some people call it a swarm trap. I call it a swarm box because it's shaped like a box. It's made from old plywood and it's wide and deep enough to hold 6 standard Langstroth frames, deep frames anyway. It has a 2 inch or a 5 centimeter hole drilled near the bottom corner, and the hole is covered with half-inch mesh. The 6 frames inside the box contain old drawn comb, just leftover stuff that's just sort of banging around, whatever. Um, and that comb usually includes at least one frame of drawn comb because scout bees are apparently attracted to drone comb. The top of the box is screwed in place and can be removed by taking out the screws. Duct tape works too. Some people use commercial swarm lures to attract honeybees to the box. I use lemongrass oil that's often sold as so-called essential oil or a perfume that's concentrated in oil form. I don't think I used any of those to attract the bees to this particular box. Some people place the box high off the ground, sometimes up in a tree. Good for them, but I've never done that. I set my swarm boxes 2 or 3 feet off the ground in an open but shaded area. According to certain books, and according to my own experience, swarms, when they exit a hive, seem to fly towards the sun, which means in the northern hemisphere, the best place to set up a swarm box is south of the hive, or southish anyways. I can't remember the reason for this, but it seems to add up. From what I've seen, when bees fly out to forage, they always begin their flights by flying towards the sun. This particular swarm box was from last summer, 2019, and I set it up around the beginning of July. I would walk past the box whenever I was done with the bees for the day to see if any bees were poking around inside the box, flying in and out of the 2 inch hole in the corner of it. Scout bees behave differently than regular honeybees. Regular honeybees aren't too interested in empty cavities like a swarm box or, a gas barbecue or the, rotted hole in the eaves of your house. They don't usually poke their heads into anything like that unless they're looking for a new place to live. About 2 weeks after I set up this swarm box, I began to notice some bees showing interest in it. And then near the end of July, as I was leaving one day, I saw a good number of bees flying in and out of the hole in the swarm box, and that's what you're seeing in this video. So, to recap, I caught a swarm in a box made of old plywood that contained 6 frames of old drawn comb, including at least one frame of drone comb, the kind of comb that's full of big fat cells. It seems to be very attractive to swarming bees. A couple of feet off the ground in an open but shaded spot. No swarm lure or lemongrass oil, though neither of those hurt. The sad part of this story is that the swarm came from one of my own colonies. Here's a shot of that colony 2 weeks before it swarmed. I found this frame with several queen cups on the bottom. And I don't usually get alarmed by queen cups. I don't go mad and destroy them whenever I find them. But a few days later, when I saw even more queen cups on the bottom of the frames, rows of queen cups, then that's when I should have done something then. And now I know when I see rows of queen cups, not just a few scattered here and there, which is normal, but a large number of them, especially on the bottom of the frames where the big fat swarm cells usually hang out, then it's time to knock back the colony a bit and do what I can to just prevent that swarm, which is usually split the hive in half, put open brood in both halves of the hive, and whichever half doesn't have a queen, they create a new queen, and that sort of shuts them down, hopefully. But anyhow, I got complacent, and I let the bees do what bees do, and they swarmed. But at least I caught the swarm and rehived them and let them make a whole new colony, and which means I didn't get much honey from the original colony or the swarm colony, but at least I didn't lose my bees. And thus ends my story of last summer's swarm. And as for this summer, I don't really want to talk about it. That's to be continued.
Wow. It's curious.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the other one.
There's the other one.
This is not a good thing for it to do, though.
No, it's very bad.
It should be afraid of us.
We should scare.
Ray's gonna give it a bark, probably.
We should.
Holy crap, man!
They're so beautiful.
Look how small it is.
Oh, they're so beautiful. Watch out for snares.
As long as the mother doesn't come out of the woods and take a bite.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
That's cool.